box, rock the box, rock the box. We say we'll be jamming here on a Thursday. 8:30 we tuning in here. When you all the fed, the food and the music, we'll be talking about everything. When you rock the box, dicey spot. So you want to hear about events and things. Rock the box, dicey spot. Want to know which music in tongue popping. Rock the box, dicey spot. Where we discussing all your favorite things. Rock the box, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box.
Well, it's another Thursday evening. We're coming to you live from our studios up here at Observatory Road, the place that we affectionately call the Icebox. Welcome to another episode of Rock the Box. It's Thursday evening. Your boy JC with you on the inside. It's been a wonderful week, actually. It's been a wonderful month, a leap year. So some folks got an extra day. Had it not been that, we would have singing our praises and the Saints would have started marching on. The good thing about it, when the Saints starts marching on, is happy times, because this weekend is your Reza Championships Fallen weekend. It is Intercall following 2 weekends. It is Carifta following 3 months. Big event. I'm not talking too much about that. But here's the folks, we're getting ready. Thank you for being part of this evening's conversation. Your boy JC here with you. And I want to say thanks, of course, that is coming to you to the kind compliments of our friends, wonderful friends from Rush Distributors. Of course, they are the distributors of Tampico, Cran and Waters. Yeah, they come with a brand new cran flavor this evening and a host of other flavors that you can possibly think about. Rush Distributors inside of Woodlands. You can find them on social media and other platforms. But this evening, folks, we're getting excited. There you can see it's a rush of flavor in every sip. There's a whole lot of different flavors that they have that we can talk about. We say thanks to them. But who's in the studio this evening? The man Dexter Mitchell is on the inside. And when we say Dexter, we say Rock the Boxes with family. Dexter's really and truly his family. He's on the inside. Then, of course, who is joining us as well? Dexter is Mr. Music, Mr. Culture. Then we have the Iron Man himself. And when I say the Iron Man, Dexter and I ain't got nothing on him. Yeah, Lyndon Victor is on the inside. Lyndon's, we're getting ready for everything. Getting ready for the summer and everything that you can possibly think about. And who's going to join us later on in the evening? Missy Chrissy. She's actually having their final dance rehearsal for a really special event this weekend. That's all part of the conversation. So, gentlemen, Dexter, Lyndon, I'm going to kick off with you, Dexter. How have you been?
Very good, you know. I just want to thank you for having me tonight and say good night to your listeners and viewers. Yeah, coming off a very good independence season. It was very good to see us celebrate 50 years the way we did. And I think I made the point earlier that we are fortunate to be here for the 50th, right. And then we should have celebrated it the way we did. I think it turned out well. And it should probably give the authorities an idea for creating an independent season. Obviously, there is a section of the diaspora who is interested in coming in just for that occasion, who wants to be patriotic and celebrate all things Grenadian. Yeah, but all in all, it has been a very good, wonderful celebrations.
It has been good. We had some highlights, some different elements of it, things that represents us as the people, culture, music, is who we are. Also on the inside, he's joining us from Texas, the Iron Man, Lyndon Victor. Lyndon, boy, where we spoke this morning, running through your day. The last time you and I spoke, you were sitting in traffic trying to navigate your way home, yeah?
Yeah.
How's Texas?
Texas is cool. I wish I was home. But I want to thank you for having me on the show. And good night to everybody in Grenada listening.
Let me ask you, though, because of course most of us following the events that should unfold. That major wildfire that's ravaging through Texas.
Yeah. Well, first I want to talk about the one that's happening home. I just spoke to my dad, and he said that there's a fire home, and my prayers are with the family that just lost their homes. Like here in Texas, there's a big wildfire. You think it's snow outside, is just filled with ashes. So I'm having to navigate that to go through and to and from practice.
Well, practice, and we know getting ready for Paris.
Yeah. I mean, Paris is everybody knows the Olympics is the pinnacle of sports, and I'm getting ready for there. Like I said earlier, when somebody asked me about it, it's never going to be smooth. Like, it's going to have its ups and downs, but through the grace of God, I'm hoping that to put on a show come August 2nd and 3rd.
I like the way he put it, Dexter, to put on a show. You get the sense he's not putting too much pressure on himself. You're just going to prepare and go out there and just deliver. That's the sense I'm getting.
Yeah. I see myself as a sportsman, but I also see myself as an entertainer. There's a lot of people coming to watch me compete. There's a lot of Grenadians waking up 3 o'clock in the morning and just to watch me compete. So, and that's the way as I've gotten older, I'm starting to look at the decathlon in a different light. And not put pressure on myself per se, but just, just like any other entertainer, where people, you're prepared to go out and perform, and you want to perform at a high level and put together a good show.
That's quite interesting, the way he sees himself. We want to continue with the conversation, though, but I want to three of us want to get in here just to focus on some events that has raised its ugly head in Grenada, Dexter, in the last couple of days. I even saw, I'm not sure, there was a video today, actually, and I keep asking, I don't know if my guys in Master Control, they still have it. If not, I can WhatsApp you. I should have done that. My apologies. But it just kind of came to me again. Violent. I've said for years, and there are people who disagreed with me, when I've said, gentlemen, that Grenada is becoming a lawless country. Yes, we understand. Christian society, best place in the world, we can leave you, so on, everything open and go about your business. But something, if not gone wrong in more recent times, somebody has maybe unleashed something on us. And I've gotten the sense, though, and Lyndon, and I'm assuming you get all of the details, it comes to you where you are in the U.S., but I'm getting the sense, though, that there's a general breakdown, Dexter and Lyndon, a general breakdown of law and order, disrespect, if you ask me, total disrespect for law enforcement. What say you, Dexter?
I think last time I was here, we had this conversation about, and I said that there was a crisis. There's a crisis among the young males in the Caribbean. It's not just Grenada. I mean, what we see now, what happening in Grenada and shocking us, transpires elsewhere in the region. But before we get to law and order and the disrespect, I think there is a breakdown in the home. I think we're trying to fix the problem at the end, and we are not going back to what transpires, how we grew up. Growing up with your grandparents and growing up with the elders in the villages who could correct you. And if you complained about that, then your parents and grandparents would punish you again, I think a lot of that is missing. We are allowing the kids to be groomed and to be grown up by technology, by the video games, by the tablets, by the phones. So a lot of that behavior, that violence on the video games, that has been manifested, that has been acted out. And it's not surprising when you see the young men behave the way they do. They have no fear, they have no respect, because that is what they are seeing. This is what on television, in the movies, this is what they're seeing in the video games, where you have this power on your fingers to shoot and kill somebody in the context of a video game, and it is going to play out in real life. So I think before, I also, and I made the point the last time, I also think that the churches have let down society. You look around at churches now, and they have become big business. They're not concerned. You don't find the counselors and the pastors and preachers acting as counselors and interceders, going to homes and counseling and talking to young people. It has become more competition. So I think those elements of society have to, first of all, take responsibility. We cannot blame the teachers at the schools. We cannot blame the policemen at the end of the problem. We have to go back to the beginning of the problem and address. Parents have to be accountable. You brought another human being into the world. That is your responsibility. Correct. It's not society's responsibility. It is not the policeman's society. What is happening with the policemen is that they are now charged with fixing a problem that was created by somebody who was negligent at home or in church or in some other form of society. I think we have to go back to addressing the crisis of young males, not just in Grenada, like I said. It is now been manifested in Grenada and it is shocking us. But the crisis of the young male in the Caribbean. I don't have the statistics right now with me, Joseph, but we can look at the number of young women who are learning to drive, who are bettering themselves, who are going to college, university, studying exactly at the end of the workday, still going to take those extra classes at UE or SG or wherever, or online or wherever, compared to the number of young men who are doing it. So we need to address that problem. It is all well and good to share the videos and to make the comments on social media, but that is not fixing the problem. What that is doing is providing attention for these young men, and that is acting as a stimuli for them to continue that kind of behavior.
Lyndon, how do you see athletics, sports? How do you see it playing? What role do you see it play? Because you've always heard that sports, of course, it helps to anything. It allows for young people to focus that energy and channel it into a more positive direction. Sports, you would agree, is a vehicle that can assist?
Most definitely. When I say this, I'm not even guessing. Like I am a product of what sports can do, you know. When you look at, there's a lot of idle young men. There's no doubt about that. But what sports teaches you most of all, I think, is discipline. You know, having the discipline to get up in the morning and to train and to push your bodies to a place where it's never been before. I think sports translates directly, not just in schoolwork, but in life. If you want to achieve something in sports, you have to work for it. You can't just get up in the morning and be like, oh, well, I want to be an Olympian or I want to get a sports scholarship or wherever it is. Like, it's something that you have to work for. And I think that this is what sports teaches all of us, you know? Like seeing what my body wasn't able to do, and 3 months and 3 years and 10 years, how much I could improve just by being disciplined and being consistent and being coachable. And I think that's one of the things that are missing in the young men, like listening to authority. Like as an athlete, you have to be able to be coachable. Like a young man, you have to be coachable. When you go into the workforce, you have to be able to be coachable. You have to be able to listen to authority. And I think that's one of the biggest things that's missing. Like young men and young people, they don't submit to authority anymore. And I think if we can channel some of these things into sports, that might really help them. And plus, it will help keep them from being idle. You know, there's a saying that idle hands is a devil workshop. When you come from school and you spend 3 hours in the park playing and learning a new skill and stimulating your brain, I think that's going to be important, not just for the young men, but for our society. And yeah. So I think we should really. Before, I know that growing up, if you didn't run cross country, you needed like a doctor's excuse. You know, like you had to run cross country, you had to participate in sports. It was a must. But now, like, kids are not even going to. They're dressing up just to go to sports. They're not even participating in heats. They're not participating in the cross country. Like, so I think like things like that we need to get back to.
Mr. Ashby Dexter used to say that sports was education away from the classroom. Because many times we saw sports as just being going to get a sweat. Yeah? So you tell your mother you're going to play football, and she asks you why you're wasting your time. Go and do something, go and read a book, not realizing they go hand in hand. You can't separate the two, Dexter.
Brother George Wilson from Victoria, who was our principal at the St. John's Christian Secondary School, there were times when he passed a mandate that every student had to participate in a sporting discipline. And it was for recreation, it was for the discipline, as Lyndon alluded to, and the possibility that some hidden talent could emerge. I mean, an example of it, I ended up making the school team to participate in intercall. I was never seen as a, yeah.
I can't remember you intercall, Dexter. Dexter, I can't remember you know a point in time in intercall.
Yes, I had one good year, and that was it. But I was just going to say to you, Joseph, congratulations on what you're doing tonight by having Lyndon on. And by the way, happy belated birthday. I know you celebrated yesterday.
Okay.
When I called him yesterday, he was just coming from training.
We're going to bust a tune for him then.
I thought he was at his birthday party. Well, I guess the party was at the track. But what you're doing is very important in that you're having a conversation and featuring Lyndon outside of the limelight. I think most of the times we feature the athletes after the success, after the World Championships or after the Olympics. But and I think the kids miss that role model. So now to hear Lyndon talking about what he's going through right now could serve as a motivation, as an inspiration to another young person who might be going through some difficulties with their training and their practicing and so on. Because when we feature them at the end with all the glamour and the glitz, it appears that they just do it. You know, Kirani just gets up and he runs a 400 meter and he wins without understanding that there's a process. And I think in this kind of microwave society where everything has to happen instantly, I think we need to set the tone and the example that there are processes to get wherever you want to, and you could have the fame, but you have to walk through that process.
You have to work. And of course, talking about events, there is, Lyndon, we did this morning, we were talking about the Rise of National Champs this weekend, and you were a product. You are a product of the national champs just the same.
Oh yeah, I mean, all the Grenadian athletes were and are a product of the national champs. I think the clubs and the schools, they really look forward to these championships, and there's a lot of pride that goes on in sports in Grenada. I recently did an interview with Sports Max, and I told them, like, to me, there's a sense of unity in the vision that happens during sports time in Grenada, where everybody's back in their school or their club, and it unites the country in a way that only sports can.
Right.
Like everybody, they wear their school tie, they wear their school uniform. Like you will see somebody that's 50 years old wearing their school uniform during sports day, during national champs or intercall, and that these are things that the unity that happens during these times we should not ever take for granted.
Right.
I remember as a young athlete, like I cried to Nick to run in these championships. Crying because I was so passionate about representing my school at the time, not even my country yet. But this is the genesis, and I think this is where the talents came out. This is where the athletes build their fire. And to me, it's the purest joy of sports, where you're just doing it for the love of it. You're doing it for your school. You're doing it for the pride, where you don't have to do it to make sure that you earn a living, to make sure that you can pay the bills. Right. It's just pure joy. And I think that the Grenadian public should go out there and really enjoy these times, because these athletes, they're doing it strictly out of love and passion. And I really admire that. Strictly
out of love and passion. Dexter said he made his school team. Nobody's ever mentioned Dexter in that capacity, but I'll see if we get somebody to fact check that for us. But anyway, folks, we got Missy Christie. Missy Christie's on the line. We're going to link up with her in just a minute. Take a quick commercial break. We also have, Dexter, some excerpts from Calypso 50, highlight of who we are as a people. It's what we do on Rock the Box. We measure, we involve, get everything in mix. Sports, culture, music, everything. It is who we are. And we'll use the same platform to rock the box. We'll be right back, Grenada.
Rock the box, dice is... Whoa, whoa. Rock the box, we say, yeah. GBN, we say, arts and culture living, yeah. Rock the box, we say. I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box.
The Planning and Development Authority of Grenada, PDA, is enforcing regulations to curb illegal, disorderly, and unauthorized development in several locations throughout the state of Grenada. The authority is concerned that structures mainly associated with vending are negatively impacting the environment, has undesirable public health and sanitation consequences, present obstructions to vehicle and pedestrian traffic, can become projectiles during adverse weather conditions, and generally affect the aesthetics of the nation. The PDA will work along with stakeholder ministries and institutions to effect the demolition, removal, and disposal of structures which fall in the category of illegal and disorderly development, commencing January 2024. In this regard, persons who vend in or occupy such illegal structures are advised to secure their personal belongings and have the structures removed ahead of the planned PDA demolition operations. These actions of the PDA have become necessary to safeguard and protect public health and the environment, ensure the safety and well-being of all citizens and visitors, discourage any future disorderly construction, and encourage compliance to regulations pertaining to physical development in the state of Grenada. This is a message from the Planning and Development Authority of Grenada.
I'm a VIP. I'm a VIP.
I am a VIP. I am vaccinated. I am immunized. I am protected. Our children and nation depend on vaccination for immunization. Childhood vaccination is national priority. It is their protection from disease and sicknesses. Let's all be VIPs and safeguard our beautiful Grenada. I am DJ Blackstorm and I am a VIP health champion. Be a VIP like me.
Let's all be VIP champions.
A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs, Be a VIP Childhood Vaccination and Immunization Campaign in collaboration with UNICEF and the Pan American Health Organization.
We say, yeah, GBN we say, arts and culture living, yeah. Rock the box we say, I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box we say.
Welcome back, folks. About JC Thursday evening, we rock of the box. And we want to let you know that, of course, say thanks to our friends at Rush Distributors for being part of tonight's engagement. We are drinking Blue Water and we are drinking Tampico. Certainly from our friends at Rush Distributors inside of Woodlands. We also have here, we have a Blue Water, so there's natural water, alkaline water, and then there is also cran water. Dexter, which would be your preference? Regular or
regular?
Regular?
Yeah.
I mean, I would go for the regular, but for persons who probably figure they want a little something different, as in everything else. They also have a Blue Water non-alcoholic malt. Low calorie. It says for the folks that want the malt taste, but not with the sugar that the others would provide. This is where this comes in. Check them out. They are on social media. Joining us now, they're getting ready for another mega weekend. It's as though we've been going full throttle since December. Yep. When it comes to weekend. It's like almost every weekend there is an event taking place and linking up. And it's interesting who was on this evening. We're talking sports culture. We probably should have gotten a lot to sponsor this because with all the sports and culture we're talking about. Lady Missy Chrissy. Guys, where's Missy? Missy. Hey, Ricardo. What's up, guys? We're not hearing you. Unmute your microphone. Well, now I'm hearing you. Now I'm hearing you. So,
can you hear us now?
I'm hearing you loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Oh, wonderful.
So here we are. Imagine how with technology, Dexter, it just makes everything comes alive. Yep. I was just saying to the folks, Ricardo, it's as though we've been going full throttle almost every night, every weekend for the last 2 months. And this weekend this weekend's no different. Tell me, set the tone for me. What's happening this weekend?
This weekend is one of the hottest shows that ever hit Grenada. It's called Journey to Gold, and it's going to be at the Trade Center this Saturday and Sunday, and it's telling 50 years of politics in 2.5 hours. From Gary to Deacon, to Right Honorable Mitchell, all the way. So it's going to be a fun weekend and a fun show. And it's going to be high energy. We have youth quake, we have singers, we have dancers. It's going to be a fantastic show. And they've been working really, really hard. And right now we're in the middle of rehearsals, you know. So we are working real hard.
I was going to say I apologize for disturbing you, but I will be lying. I'm not really apologizing at all. But to capture the essence of that 50-year journey, Ricardo, it means you have to go through varied emotions, feelings, moods, and you need to get the right characters, I can well imagine, to get those feelings in context.
Right, but the nice thing about this play is an ensemble piece. So we have 12 actors plus musicians, and we take it right through from Gary to the revolution, to everything that happened, all the strikes that happened, and it's really detailed. But yet you're giving it a snippet. You're getting a snippet of 50 years in 2.5 hours. So all the characters, the different actors playing different parts, you know, and it's an ensemble work. So it's really. Everybody depends on each other in this production, and nobody leaves the stage. So we have 12 actors on the stage constantly, plus a choir. So it's quite a magical production to look at.
It all happens this weekend. Tickets, where can they be found?
We can get the tickets at Go to Fet right now, and at the Grenada Optical in Grand Anse, and on the mall, and also at Gittins Pharmacy. Right.
But certainly,
it starts at 8 o'clock, Saturdays at 8 o'clock, and Sundays at 7 p.m. And remember, to the traffickers, I'm asking people, I know it's going to be a lot of people coming, so I'm asking people to really try and come as early as possible, because remember, the traffic these days, you know, is a little unpredictable.
Well, Grenada, we are going to say that's the price of progress. I know you're probably thinking I'm just going to have a quick interview, ask you about Sunday, and just run off like that. If that's what you're thinking, I do apologize. That's not going to happen. Of course, certainly, I know you want to hold everything. You want to guard the secret of what Sunday's unveiling is going to be. But certainly, it would be remiss of you and I, Ricardo, if we don't allow the Grenadian public to get a little appreciation of that which they can expect when they come down on Sunday.
A little taste.
A little
wonderful. Well, good. I'll just give you a little taste. These are some of the actors. They're all really wonderful actors, and Youth Quake and the musicians, everybody. So we're gonna take it from. You're just working a little piece right now, so I'll give you a taste of that. Okay. Let's, Kristen, you can start. Can you hear?
Are you ready? Yeah.
We're ready.
Oh, see. Sorry.
We do have to apologize. You seem to have lost the audio somewhere, but we're not picking up anything at all. Well, as you can see, they are dancing, getting ready for their musical pieces on Sunday. Your thoughts, though, Dexter, why we've lost the audio? Maybe you can just chime in here, because I'm not very sure if they're hearing us. Capturing.
No, I'm looking forward
50 years.
I'm looking forward to it, and of course the creativity of Ricardo Kings Douglas and what he's able to do, his writing skills and so on. But how he's able to encompass what happened politically over the last 50 years into a 2.5 theatrical production. It should be very exciting. I'm looking forward to the humorous part.
Was held and GULP on. And every time GULP win, they will always say,
Well, Ricardo, I noticed you can't have that. They look like they're just a perfect good bunch of jab. They just look.
It's wonderful, and then we go into the modern day, like the last election. So we also deal from the last 25 years, right up to Deacon. So we also were just doing a little part there to give you a little taste of what
Ricardo,
like.
if you don't mind, though,
it's a fun evening.
If you could just ask them to come a bit closer, though, to the device. Ask them to come closer to the device. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, come closer. Okay.
Yeah, come a bit closer to the device. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big cast, you see?
Yes, I realize it, but we just want to make sure we're having some latency issues, so we need to push closer. Yeah, so we're trying to give us an appreciation of the last 25 years. I'm all ears. I'm in. Is that Roger Duncan is there? Is that Roger?
That's Roger Duncan. All his names, guys.
I see Roger. I see. Missy. Well, we all know Missy. Hi guys. So let's go.
Missy. Michael.
Okay.
Michael,
yeah.
Excellent. And I see Amade is on the inside as well.
The boy Charlton, Prince Charlton, Charles Lacey Sunday.
I see you have the whole kit and caboose. So we've captured the Gary era. Give me an appreciation up until 25 years ago.
You have the musicians, they have a whole band on the side there. The band, yeah, you see the band. Just say hello, everybody. The band.
Hi guys, wonderful good evening to you all. Yeah. So give us a little bit of advice before we go. One for the road.
Okay. So let's do a little piece of that. Ready? Well, yes, okay. Get real close. Come close. Get close.
Well, boy, things started heat up. I hear candidates say how every time the man get a little licks, he threatening to sue them. What happened? He's Mr. Suzu. Mr. Suzu. Where Daddy Day? Well, next time you see him, say, Suzu. Adi Day. Things start to get hot.
Find those boss, but Susu doesn't. Find those boss, but Susu doesn't.
That's a little taste of the.
Well, if it's one thing we did learn and remember from the last campaign,
it's gonna be
that Magnus Buzz was Susu. Anyway, Ricardo, wishing you.
It's only $50. It's very inexpensive.
Thanks a lot. Congratulations. Well done, you guys.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye, Missy. Have a good one. Bye to the whole team. Folks, that's the team down there inside of the Trade Center getting ready for this weekend. Your thoughts, though? I mean, Ricardo is a genius. I'm not sure if genius is enough of a word to describe the person that he is, the talent that he embodies, Dexter.
I mean, his work is well documented, from Nutmeg Princess to plays I Ivan and those plays. Just another stroke of genius. I think this would have started 25 years ago, because you'd have done that at the silver anniversary of independence. So this is probably a continuation of something that started 25 years ago. We have some talents here, Joseph.
We do have some talent. Very often the task is getting our people to appreciate it.
Yeah, and I was just about to say that sometimes it is what we focus on. You know, we tend to accentuate the negatives a bit more than the positives. And I know there's a lot of debate with recent events. You know, we as Grenadians, do we take responsibility for highlighting the negatives, or do we showcase what is positive about us? You know, so we cannot shy away from what is happening, the bad things that are happening, but we should also take the time out to highlight, you know, the Lyndon Victors, you know, who incidentally, I was just checking on the phone to make sure he's ranked number 3 in the world in the decathlon. I mean, which is a huge deal. This is a young Grenadian athlete that we all knew. We all saw grow up from St. David, and look how well he's doing internationally. So yeah, while we're showing the bad behavior of the young men, then we can also highlight, you know, what Lyndon and Anderson and the others are doing. The young cricketers, there are some fantastic young cricketers from St. David who are doing wonderful things right now. Afi Fletcher has been named the captain of the Windward Island female team again. You know, so so probably we can collectively make an effort to showcase the things that are happening positively, and use those people and those examples as role models for the young people who are challenged right now, you know, who are torn between the peer pressure of wanting to fight and pick up guns and whatever, versus the discipline that Lyndon spoke about to try to make something of yourself.
And I often say, Dexter and Lyndon, that that peer pressure is not necessarily the problem. Because peer pressure can either be negative or positive. I think it comes back again to home and the values. Now, I mean, we went to school and like you hear people say they go to school and they see drugs, they see this, they see that. And I said, folks, there's nothing new under the sun. Anything you've seen in school now, it was there. How it was treated with though. Because even though you saw it, Lyndon, when you were in school, because you came from a family structure that gave you values and you understood, listen, I have purpose. While you saw it, you understood that those are not the things that you want to be part of your life, and you would try to focus and find a grouping that could keep you positive.
Well, not even that. I don't think it was so philosophical in our times. I knew growing up and in my time in the mid-80s, going to secondary school, there were the senior guys who would smoke. And you would be in the presence of them. But you knew if you got smoking, your grandparents would kill you.
They crack your back. I mean, I tried not to go. We tried not to go there, literally, because you knew
exactly.
that's what was going to. You grew up in the days.
So that was enough of a deterrent. But again, I mean, the punishment by your grandparents or parents were the extreme. But it was based on the values that were instilled in you that this is not going to be part of my life. I am not going to do this. So even if you are in the company of the older kids who are doing it and they make it seem cool, you are not going to partake in that because of the values that were set at home.
And it was interesting, Lyndon, that even the adults, you would see them, they would drink, they would smoke. And if for some strange reason you thought you get, let me try some, they would tell you point blank, that's not for you. That's for the adults. Yeah. But Lyndon, what was some of the punishment? Because we have to go to some musical pieces in a while. What was some of the punishment that would have been dished out to you if you ever crossed Granny?
I mean, I'm a bit younger than you guys.
Hey. Don't make us feel so old. Don't do that, Lyndon. Don't do that.
I think the biggest thing for me personally was I grew up with a fear for God.
Right.
So certain things just didn't interest me because I knew my values that I had growing up. Secondly, the guys that I grew up with, they respected my values. Like even if they were smoking, they would be like, this man here, they wouldn't even pass the weed or anything for me because they respected my values as a young man growing up. And I think these guys, when I look back at it, they almost protected me in a way because they were like, this man has something going for him. And like my dad always say, he straightened the tree. He doesn't bend the tree while he's young. So like so we like I think my discipline started from my church values, and it trickled down, come down to the rest of my life.
Well, and I think that's the point, because even though, and I often said, even though you did not necessarily come from, let's say, a Christian home, there were certain values that were just intricate. It came naturally. You got it either at home, when you went to Sunday school, when you went to school. For example, if you went to a Catholic school, and I laughed about it because I'm an old Palmer boy. So
but
you pray in the morning.
Parents wasn't going to church.
They sent you to church, so you learn those values.
Like,
and I think
they will send you with somebody.
They will send you with somebody, and I think that's to the point where we would extend into that. Raising the children, it was an extensive work of the society. So society looked out for you. The point that you made, though, even of your friends. So I was saying to some guys recently, Dexter, the first time drinking, smoking, I was no, because I came from a home basically that ain't happening. That ain't happening. Your mother would crack your back. Literally, she would crack your back, right? So I give them the joke that the first time I actually tasted a stag, it was a couple of years ago when we went up to they were having police week, and they were having police can cook. We went up to Pearls. Outside it's blazing hot, and the guys come with a stag. They assume everybody's drinking, and I said, I don't drink that. They're like, really? So I said, hold on. Everybody's like, okay, let me taste it and see. And I'm like, that is what you guys make a fuss about. You almost give young fellas as though it's a rites of passage. And I had a similar experience to what Lyndon was talking about when that place was up at Grand Mall, Sunset View. What was it before? It was Sunset View before. Yeah. A few of us as old boys, we met and we by the bar. What are you drinking? Give him that, give him that. And they say, Joe, give Joe a malt. They say, big man, give Joe a malt. And those guys turn and say, I am telling you, he ain't drinking. And even when we traveled, I mean, those other days you're in Cape and Wireless, you know, you travel, guys tend to do, those guys would always tell you, listen, give Joe your keys for your room, your passport, because you know one man that's sober. It's him. So I always say it's not necessarily the peer pressure, but with you understanding those values and understanding, listen, my mother says one way, whole way. What she said about the days when she lifted Britannia and she lowered your Union Jack.
No, but I'm happy to hear Lyndon mention the church values also, and I think I made that point earlier, that it did not necessarily mean you are a religious person or you subscribe to strict Christian values, but the church provided a kind of safe haven, and it came with its inherent discipline. You had to respect the elders in the church. You had to stand up when it was time to stand. You had to sing when it was time to sing. You had to be quiet for the most part. So those beginnings of that discipline and structure helps, and I think a lot of that is missing right now. And when you see what churches have become, when they become big businesses and they become competitive and they're trying to outdo each other, that is sending a wrong signal to the young people. So they are saying, well, why go there and compete when I can stay outside and basically do the same thing?
I sometimes make the argument that years ago churches were concerned about your soul, your humanity, who you were as an individual. Now there seemed to be that focus on the dollars and cents. You would hear the pastors focus a lot on pay the tithes, make sure you pay. And I'm not getting into those politics, but the context that in the days when the churches, you had different little crusades. During the summer, they had summer camps. And that was like a rule. You came, when school closed, you know the churches, you're going to summer. You may get 1 week off, and you spend the next 3-4 weeks in summer camp. They had things like Kids Crusade. And all the children in the villages, you're good, bad, or you're indifferent, you are going, Dexter, to Kids Crusade, because that's where you're supposed to be. Lyndon?
So I don't like to deal on the problems. I like to deal on the solutions. How do we bring that back to our society? Because to me, I know that this is important, but I feel like sometimes we become a little bit too religious in a sense where, you know, we have to make people comfortable to get back into the church and not just be so religious and just so, what is it what I'm looking for? We can't just be like, okay, they're a sinner, so a sinner would not feel comfortable coming into the church. Sinners and people should feel comfortable to bring their family and to bring their kids into the church, even though, so they can feel welcome again.
But that's what is supposed to happen. Is it a case? He's supposed to be come just as you're a broken, an empty vessel, and they would be healing. But folks, it's a conversation we agree that has to go on and on. It must take a multifaceted approach, indeed. But in the midst of having that conversation, you know, life continues as it is. And so Dexter, we want to rock the box, but we also have some musical pieces that we want to show from Calypso 50. But here's how we are going to rock the box though. So we've been talking about the challenges that we're going to have. So I'm going to put Dexter against you, Lyndon, because I don't want to beat you up. I don't want to beat any one of y'all tonight. I don't want to do that. You always say it's unfair. I think it's unfair, and that's not part of me. So in keeping with the issues that we've been talking about, I want each of the box. You know how we rock the box, Dexter? We want to pick a musical video, play, do some snippets from it, and then get the general to vote on which one they think wins. In keeping with what you think in the problems, pick a song. pick a song, preferably local, that highlights what the problem is and hints towards the solution of dealing with the challenges facing our young men. I'm going to flip a coin, heads or tail, and I'm going to allow Dexter to go first. Dexter, pick a tune. I'm
going to go with Education by the Mighty Sparrow.
Education. So, Master Control, find us that tune. Education by the Mighty Sparrow. Lyndon, what's coming to you? I mean, I asked Dexter to go first because I know when it comes to music, Dexter have it on his fingertips.
The man sharp. I
know that.
I didn't figure out that song right now.
I know that. That's why I didn't ask you first. So, here's what I want to give you some time to think, though. I'm going to give you some time to think. Master Control, as soon as you actually find Dexter's song, Education from the Mighty Sparrow, and then by that point in time, I was like, homework for Dexter, you know. But I remember Dexter. Master Control, tell me when you're ready. But can we talk, guys, about this weekend? National champs, the excitement that you remember as a child, Dexter. I keep saying, not Dexter. All of a sudden, Dexter told me he used to take part in athletics, and I keep mentioning, I never actually thought of Dexter anything close to athletics.
I had my moments.
You had your moments?
Yes, I did.
You know, you'll be surprised. We all go back to our school days, and we realize, boy, had I considered myself along that path, maybe, just maybe. Okay, I think I'm hearing it in the background.
One more time.
Okay, so guys, we're rocking the box. We played the excerpt. This is Education from the Mighty Sparrow, and then we are going to get Lyndon's selection, and then we vote. Let's go, guys.
Do we have any older folks here? Sing the chorus. Education, education, this is the foundation. Our rising population needs sound education to be recognized anywhere you go. You gotta have your certificate to show to enjoy any kind of happiness. Knowledge is the key to success. Children go to school and learn well. Otherwise, later on in life, you will get ready. Without an education in your head, your whole life will be pure misery. You're better off dead. For there is simply no room in this whole wide world for an uneducated little boy or girl.
Simply no room in this world for little coconut head children. As we used to say, break the coconut. What's happening with you? Break it, break it. So, next, that's your selection. Education from the Mighty Sparrow. Well, as soon as we get your selection, Lyndon, what say you? What do you manage to muster up?
Legacy by Scholar.
Legacy by Scholar. I mean, well, okay. I think we may have underestimated Linda. What? I mean, so Lyndon is going with Legacy by Scholar. And just for the fun of it, while I'm not in competition, my selection would have gone, I was going to pick We're Going the Wrong Way from Inspector. We are going the wrong way. Indeed, we are going to. Oh, but you know the one that came to me initially though is that song from what's his name?
Look into their eyes.
Rashot, yeah, it was one of Rashot, yeah, selection. But let's go.
That night he lay in bed, they controlled his will, told him to kill. She's much better off dead. The woman lying beside him, the same woman he loved so. With an angry knife, he stabbed her breath so she would cheat no more. Then he killed their hope, their laughter, their joy, a future in tears, a family destroyed. Then came the shame, the anger and blame. The fruits of home, their lives are in dread, their fathers in jail, their mother
sun won't shine anymore. And the story touches me so and makes me scared. That is why I want to leave a legacy for my children. That is what I want to leave them, to face the world and its problems. A legacy for my children. That is what I want to give them, to live in this cruel system. I don't want them to become murderers. I don't want them to become. I don't want them to become drug pushers. Oh.
Well, we talk about the power of the music, and very often, and it's not one of the songs that most people, when they think of Scholar, that pops to your head. Because when he said legacy, the truth is, I was like, legacy? What song is
No, but I think it's a good selection.
It's an excellent selection.
Because towards the end of the conversation, we started to talk about the solutions. I mean, we can talk from now until the kingdom come about what is wrong.
Right.
That, as Lyndon said, at some point we have to start to talk about the fix. How are we going to reverse these things? Education, that's why I selected the Sparrow song. And then what do we want to leave for the next generation? What legacy do we want to leave? Our grandparents took care of us. Our parents took care of us, hence our discipline. We're told to be where we are in society. But what are we doing now? Are we just watching those kids and blaming them and condemning them without actually putting something in place that we can say that, yeah, we left a legacy? So very good selection.
So folks, there we have it. A legacy from Scholar by Lyndon, and Dexter, his selection was on the Mighty Sparrow, Education. 440-1252, that's the number on the inside. We're going to go to 5. We are going to go to 5. And again, folks, those of you that want to keep remembering that this is just for all fun. You'll be surprised, Dexter, people, when we rock the box, people take this thing seriously. Yep. You know, you let a man beat you, boy, that's what you play. Folks, it's all fun. It's all fun. As you realize, we do it all impromptu, but what we want is a message. What is the solution? The solution is a legacy. A legacy as to what we want, but that legacy may just have to start with education. Hear how we think. 440-1252, that's the number on the inside. Studio control, you let me know when we do have a caller. But while we at that door, Calypso 50, it came. I mean, it was a bumper success, wasn't it?
It worked out well. In terms of what we wanted to do, and we've had several conversations about what we were trying to do, showcasing some of Grenada's greatest calypsonians, doing some of Grenada's greatest hits. The selection of the artists were not necessarily based on titles, although we ended up with 64 national titles on stage, but it was the hit songs and getting people to sing along to those songs, and which we achieved.
We have a caller that is on the line. Good evening, caller. How are you? Hello, caller.
Hi, legacy by my boy Lindo, legacy.
Tanti V, why are you not sleeping? Next time we will explain that certain people do not qualify to
I am listening to my boy.
It's me. What a lay on the call.
You didn't know I was listening? You didn't think I was listening? I listened only too well.
Tanti V, while you at it, did you ever know Dexter to have any involvement, athletics moments where you refer to him as being an athlete? You ever saw it?
I don't recall Dexter at all. All who I recall is Steve Duncan and Wayne Waggy Redhead. I remember those two from his shape, but I don't remember Dexter at all. Dexter probably might have run when he was a prop. But after that, he probably...
Thanks a lot, Tanti V.
Good night, Miss B.
Have a good one.
But actually, Dexter's song is good too. Education is key. But you must leave a legacy.
You must leave a legacy. Interesting. Thank you, Tanti V. All the best. 440-1252. Well, Lyndon is up 1. The good thing, though, Lyndon, when you're doing the decathlete as a decathlete, you start at 1, but you understand it's not where you start though. It's where you end.
Miss B votes to come like 3.
Next thing, Dexter might get a call from Donald Trump, but Donald Trump might decide his vote because I was 5.
I might refuse that call.
You might refuse. I take it back. Look how Dexter want me to go to combat. He might refuse that one. Guys, as soon as you have another call, you are going to let me know. So we're talking about the 50. I mean, it was mega. What's your one takeaway from it, though, in terms of people's response and everything?
Well, before I get into that, let me just say thank you to the team at Made in Grenada, the folks who worked along with me, GBN, a very supportive partner throughout the entire process, the Calypsonians, our sponsors, Wagati, the sound system provider, and he and his team, I mean, I've conveyed it to him several times since then, the excellent job that they did to provide quality song, light, and stage. And we did something on the video board, an introduction for our Black Wizard by Harold Paisadi and old clip from GBTV. That worked really, really, really well. So hats off to everybody who played a role, who shared in the vision, and who was able to help in execution of this event. The takeaway is the value of what we have. We sometimes feel that the best of what we need or what we have to get has to come from outside, and sometimes the best of is here. I mean, we have one gentleman who's on with us who's Grenadian and number 3 in the world. Some of the best calypsos that have ever been written in the history of calypso were done by Grenadians, and that is what we're able to showcase on the 11th of February. And I want to say hats off. A special mention to King Ajamo. Ajamo not only performed on the night, he was the musical director of the band, so he was responsible for everything music on that night. So I don't know if people noticed, but there were some changes while the bands were playing. Some players were being exchanged. So Ajamo himself had to leave at one point to go get ready for his performance, so somebody replaced him, and that went seamlessly. There was no interruption, there were no delays and so on. So hats off to Ajamo, and he really proved that he is the music man, that he really knew the command of the musicians and the music and the respect from all the artists. And all the artists, original inspector who came from Fort Lauderdale, Lady Cynthia, and the effort she made, she had to drive all the way from Surtees on 4 occasions to Mama Kian for rehearsals. Peter Humphrey, I mean, he had surgery a couple of years ago, so it was an effort to get here.
You know what's interesting, Dexter? We hear these different artists, the Lady Cynthia, the original inspector, and it's interesting that the impact that they've had on us as a people and us individually, how the different songs that they've sung, how it just plays on our heartstrings. Yep. So you hear Lady Cynthia, and you go back, Lady Cynthia, I want you to put your left foot in front, and it just kicks out. You hear the Mantis, and you hear these different artists, and all of a sudden you realize, somewhere along your path, your journey, they have just made an indelible mark on our lives. But for those of you probably you have no idea what it's going to be talking about, guys, we keeping the phone lines open, but we're going to take some excerpts from Calypso at 50, was put on by Made in Grenada. Guys, while we do that,
when I finish my little mission here and my father called me come home, you would not be able to help me there because I'll be standing alone. But if I'm hungry now, you could feed me, or you could wait till I starve to death. Them do you knows why they reading me eulogy. You must stop the damn disrespect. The ordinary people like me and you could be heroes too. Yeah, selfless sacrifices we make for a total stranger's sake. Once you take for granted and you never appreciate. After they gone to the great beyond, you know that it is too late. So leave no stone unturned, no effort must be spared. To give me flowers before I dead, no procrastinating, don't even say I dread. I said to give me flowers before I dead.
Alright, Father, me is belong home. I go in and walk my land. I ain't care if it's alone. You must say inspector go cut out the hand. I'm planting me nutmeg and banana. I'm planting right down to Kenya. And I know when I reap my crop, my pocket will be always fat. So when you see me in the cold mountain, wanna plant it. I got banana. But I using my cutlass, so me say that I'm dying. Riding a donkey when my bottom bruised. I exchange it, I walk it up without shoes. That is a great. I wanna hear you. I'm digging the soil and I'm planting in style. Let's go, man.
Hear this. Calypsonian couldn't understand why she paranoid. She too paranoid. Come to his room but won't get it on. She too paranoid. Yes, she paranoid. He touch she pull back. He tell she, then we talk. She put him, sit down there, and then she say, afraid you have the big, yeah, afraid I get it. Afraid you have the big, yeah, afraid I get it. Oh Lord. Afraid I get it. Afraid I get it. Afraid I get it. Afraid I get the big. Afraid I get it. Afraid I get it. Afraid I get it.
Shake, shake, you body. And then you shake, you body. Watch it. And then you crowd shouting. What we say? Say, ladies, city. And then you shake, you body. Give me again. And then you shake, and you body. Sing it out. And then the crowd shouting. Ladies, city. Oh my God. This is a special moment. This is the day that the Lord has made, right? We give thanks. A lot of people see Looney Spark Electrify performing on stage over 22 years. This is where it come from. This lady has been contributing for over 40 plus years. And she has made two beautiful sons that continue to give thanks, right?
Wow. It's the sort of thing that just draws you in and you start thinking, whoa. Lyndon, any memories? Or you want to prove it to them?
Well, I would say this. This just shows me how much we have strayed from our culture, because I'm 31 and I don't know a song from Lady Cindy.
Okay.
Or none that I could come straight from my head. So I can only imagine my little brother probably don't even know who Lady Cynthia is. So I must commend Dexter for even putting on a show like that for that the younger generations could actually know who our heroes are. Because they don't know. They really don't have no idea who some of these people are.
And would you agree or disagree? What would you say if Dexter, let's see both of you guys, is that where you could say that's where some of the problem stems from? That because we've lost touch with our forefathers, whether through the music, the art form. So the values that they shared, we are not privy to it. So we've grown up adopting something foreign and then realizing, boy, this is not who we are. Lyndon?
Well, even the song Education, I remember it playing on the radio every Saturday. Without the education in your head, you know? And you hear these things, and you conform your thinking to like, I need to get an education. But now what's playing on the radio is chop this and shoot this. And then you start conforming your thinking to these kind of things. Like, they don't even play Calypso on Saturday morning. I remember every Saturday morning, you used to hear Calypso music every Saturday morning.
Dexter, what say you?
If it was up to me, we would go back to that. Have to be played on all radio stations every Saturday morning. We live in a world now where everything is accessible to everyone by this device at your fingertips. When we were growing up, there was one source, GBC. You probably, depends on where you lived in Grenada, you might be able to get one or two other stations, Radio Antilles perhaps, or Radio St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But you did not have too many options. Now there are so many options, and we are becoming part of that problem in that we are running away from what is ours, what is authentically ours. So if you want to listen to Grenadian Calypso, you probably would have to go online, but the airwaves does not send that message. So, for example, Jules, if you are sitting on a bus and the bus driver and the conductor is recklessly playing music that is offensive or violent, and a young school child is sitting next to you, in his mind, you are part of the acceptance of that music. You're not objecting to it. It has been played in their presence. So the child gets the impression that all the adults are consenting. Exactly. If they can listen to it, then I can listen to it too, and at some point act it out. So I think we have to go back to those values. We have to make a space on our airways to feature what we have. Like Lyndon said, at age 31, he should know some songs from Lady Cynthia. And the only way that is possible is that the songs have to be played. He's not going to, a 30-year-old is not going to research Lady Cynthia unless it's a school project or something. But as we grew up here in education by the Mighty Sparrow and those songs, it became part of who we are, and the message resonated with us. So we have to go back. There's a word I think that we don't like to use in democratic societies, but there has to be some control. We cannot allow people to do everything that they want in the best interest, thinking it is in the best interest to the detriment of the rest of society. And there has to be some control, not censorship, but some level of control, something that says this is how we are going to do what needs to be done for the greater good of all society.
I've often said, Linda, one of the challenges that I've had, we stopped beating children. So children are not being penalized in school anymore. Who gave them that right? Adults. And we've sat down over the year systematically, and adults determine what was wrong for all children. 30 years on now, here we are, adults now. So you and I, we saw it when we were growing up. We've now become parents now, and you're sitting back and you start thinking.
No, and what has happened when we as adults agreed to stop beating kids, we challenged praise in school. So what has happened now is
they literally cut it out.
So what has happened now is that the kids now they have to be searched to go into school, search for weapons. They have to go past a security guard, past a gate in order to go into school. I mean, think about what has happened, and we are not often thinking about how we got here and the solutions. We have to. I don't want to sing song like my grandparents, but
it's the reality.
But yeah, we have to go back to some of those traditions. We have to take back control of society, where adults do adult things and conduct themselves as adults, and stop blaming the police and stop blaming the politicians. You brought a child into the world. You are responsible for that child. And if there are challenges in you bringing up that child, then you lean on the rest of society, not curse and blame people for what you feel to do. And kids have to be kids. We are blaming 12 and 13 and 14-year-olds and saying they are out of control and we cannot control them. They are children. They have to be controlled. They have to be controlled. They are children. Until you become an adult, then you do adult things. But as long as you're a child, you will be controlled. That is how society works.
And it's interesting, though. We hear Lyndon. I mean, Lyndon, I guess, is probably keeping quiet. He's probably telling children, what are these two fellas talking about? But we grew up in a culture, and I know, Lyndon, you've heard it. Where you heard him, you've heard it, he's small. She will grow out of it. So a child uses an obscene language, and auntie and nene giggle. They giggle over it. The child at home, and you decide it's Christmas, let him have a drink. The child gets to 12, let him get a little puff. And you're thinking, we don't grow out of anything. We start to practice it, it becomes who we are. And what we see now is the roosters, here they are, they're home to roost, because we've allowed them to do it all of these years. And like I always said, one of the challenges is streets. Children, when we were growing up, you're going to school, you're 9, 10, 12, some auntie picking you up and take you home, take you to school, they drop you back. Children are going to school from what age, Lyndon? 5. They're on a bus, and I know people are ready to beat on me, but the point I'm making is, sometimes we don't see that which they've been exposed to. Because since the age of 5, they have become independent. They're on their own. So all of this from the age of 5, they're on a bus and you think, okay, it's cool. Everybody wants their child to grow up, but we're not realizing the reverse of those things. Sometimes you may have to make the sacrifice and decide, tell Tanty, Jenny, a neighbor, build back that neighborly love where drop my daughter or sister, my child at school. But I'm saying that though, you don't want to be naive in terms of what exists in this world. Don't just take a child and drop them off in the hands of a stranger, Lyndon. Lyndon, what's your parting word?
Well, I would say this. At the time when I was being corrected, I did not see the benefits of being corrected. But now that I've gotten older, I appreciate, that's the word, the correction that I've gotten from both my parents, from my sister, from my older sisters come down. I appreciate it now because it has formed who I am as a person, you know? And I think people see correction as a form of abuse. And there is a point where it becomes abuse. But I think that we have let loose so much that there's almost no correction. And I think we need to find the middle ground where children has to be corrected, but not abuse. And I think we've let loose so much that there's no more correction. There's no more correction. It's almost like you just let children do whatever they want. And I don't know how we got to this point, but it seems like we are at this point.
Cut that out, you put it on a loop, there is correction, but yet anything done in excess is too much. So I still believe in the fundamental of corporal punishment. The truth is I am not necessarily a parent that's into beating, but I think at some point in time, listen, if you can't figure it out one way, you're going to figure it out the other way. But I think it's how you do it. We grew up in an era where your parents would beat the living daylight out of us. They beat you for what you do, what you would do, what they think you would do.
What you intend to do.
What you intend to do. What they hear you will do. And they start thinking, I wonder what that little bugger going to do tomorrow. Come here, Dexter. Take some licks. Yeah, and they beat you. But where to from here? You were saying something, Lyndon? Yeah?
Yeah, I also think that we don't talk to our kids anymore. Like, I feel like we beat kids. Well, we beat kids and we don't beat kids, but we don't talk to them.
True.
And explain to them what their actions will cause them down the road. Like, talk to them and explain to them, like, if you beating them, let them know why you're beating them. And if you don't beat them, let them know why I choose not to beat you, but what you're doing is wrong. Correct. And there has to be some type of punishment. But I think that sometimes you just get licks and you don't even know what you're getting licks for.
Lyndon, how many kids you said you had again?
You said what?
How many kids you have again?
I have no kids.
I know. I'm just making the point. I'm just making the point that really and truly, you listen, and that's what the problem is. You know, even the issue of beating. You don't beat your children when you're enraged. Our parents did that, and I mean, God alone knows. But not just that, the prayers of our grandparents. Because while mommy beating us, grandma and auntie praying for us. So we stayed on the right path. But even for me, that's something that I do. I don't beat you out of rage. I'm going to first have a conversation with you. And then I'm going to beat you, you know, you hear something, you run home. I mean, before you know it, your parents spelt in rope pot, anything. Linda, you ever got a lash or a wet bath towel?
No, that was a wet battle would be a good day for me. I would take that.
Dexter, you ever got a lash or wet bath towel?
Nah, I got some other things.
A wet battle, I'll be smiling.
Or wet jeans?
That would compared to what I've gotten, that would as Lyndon said, that would be laughable.
Oh my Lord, you hear some stories.
Jeans is nice. That when they're feeling good.
Hold on. If I ever get what, Slokey? A fat belt? What is
I remember I used to bring the smallest belt. When they sending you for the belt to beat you.
and that's almost like torture, eh? When your parents tell you, go and break a whip.
Or the conversation while they're beating you.
What?
They would talk to you through the entire beating.
Right.
Yep.
Or there are times though when they don't run you during the day, they let you fall asleep. Yep. And you're deep in sleep, dreaming about crossing the Niles. And all you know, boy.
Yep. Yeah.
Where do you run when you have, but guys, seriously, it's a conversation. Why are we taking the light test? Because sometimes you don't always have to go hardcore on the issues. But I think Lyndon made a very, very valuable point, and it's how we were cultured, though, that we speak down to our children. We don't have an open, objective conversation. We always say to them, don't speak back to me. And I have the school of thought, a child speaking back to you is not a problem. There's a tone, how it is done, and must understand, when I say to the child, Jaden, stop, he understands.
Yeah. No,
when he gets the eye,
I think
he knows.
Even with what we're exposed to, counseling and psychology and so on, our grandparents knew what they were doing. There was a day I went to play football when I was not supposed to, and I got injured. I got cut over my eye, so I came home and my entire eye was plastered. And I thought, well, yeah, surely they're going to kill me. And I got the silent treatment from them and I was actually begging for the licks. Like the silent treatment, not knowing what was going to happen, was worse than if they had beaten me. And so again, it is them understanding how to treat with young people, how to treat with kids and so on. And as Lyndon said, you don't always have to scream and beat in anger and so on. No. There are times you have to talk to them, explain to them what went wrong. But I think we need to go back to the drawing board. I think and especially for Grenada, because that is not what is happening. Is not us.
It's not unique.
And there's a lot of conversation, and it's not politically aligned or anything like that. But there's going to be conversation because this is not who we are. We are not that type of people. And I think we need to go back to the drawing board. We need to pay attention to what the kids are exposed to. We need to highlight Mr. Victor and Mr. James and Anderson and those guys and what they are doing and say it is possible that whatever your conditions or your situation might be in Grenada, wherever you come from in Grenada, look at what is possible. Look at where these young men are and use them some more. Let them speak to young people, especially the young men who are challenged, and let them know that you do not have to follow your peers. You do not have to turn to crime. You do not have to smoke and drink. There is an outlet. Education, and education can be provided by your God-given talent. So if you're an athlete, you can get an education. So your parents might not be able to afford to send you to university. However, but if you are disciplined enough, then this is exactly. Lyndon? If you can write songs, you can become the next Boise and make a living out of your God-given talent.
Right.
I think we need to accentuate those things that are positive about our men, especially our young men, and point the challenge young men in that direction.
Lyndon, you're saying?
No, I really believe that. Not like we need to showcase our successful men in society, because the men that are being showcased in society are the men that have all the wealth and the bling, and what young men inspire to be is a wrong example. But we have farmers that are millionaires in Grenada. Right? But nobody knows that. Nobody knows of the successful farmer that's making millions of dollars from agriculture. Nobody knows we're not showcasing our successful athletes. We're not showcasing our successful entrepreneurs, the guy that's selling snow cone and how he started and how he got there to motivate and inspire the youth, because a lot of youths need hope. Right? But nobody's telling their story. And you'll be so surprised as to how many people have similar stories, but people just don't know. So they have no hope. So they just think that, okay, my easiest path to making a living or to being recognized is by selling drugs or doing something just to get recognized. And where there's so many avenues in Grenada, and there's so many examples in Grenada, but they're just not being showcased and they're just not being highlighted.
And you're so right, and that's why we continue to evolve what happens on Rock the Box. We intertwine music, entertainment. In the midst of having some serious, crazy conversations, we find ways to connect with you. Because I always say, guys, that life is about balance. You have to find a balance. Laugh a little, cry a little, have some fun, but in the midst of it, there must be a message to all of who we are and what we do. Folks, it's a busy weekend, really busy weekend. In the GFA, of course, there's continued to be action inside of the Big Eight in Division 2. The top 4 teams, of course, they're going to advance to Division 1. There continues the GFA, with the Spice Boys, the other 20. Unfortunately, though, they lost all of the 3 matches in the qualifiers that they went to. But I say kudos to them. Because Mr. Ashby would say...
They drew the third one.
They drew the third one.
Yeah.
Right, they lost the first 2 against Bermuda and Jamaica, and they drew the third one. But participation in it is what's important. Mr. Ashby used to always, not always about winning or losing, but just by participating, you're a victor, because history would record it one way or the other that Grenada participated in the qualifiers for the 2025 World Cup in St. Kitts. And there's nothing you and I can do about that. Folks, it is Thursday evening. We're getting ready to get out of here. Our boy Lyndon, is always a pleasure. Next week, there's going to be another surprise. You just stay right where you are. And folks, what we want to be is to find, and as Dexter hinted to it, eliminate the negative and accentuate the positive. Again, we say thanks to our folks inside of Rush. Check them out for all of your drinks. They also have a children's size in Tampico that actually has less sugar as well. Yeah, you certainly want to find it out. Get their waters, and they also have a malt beverage. Our folks at Rush. Check out the folks inside of Made in Grenada. Next up, we have some great things that's coming up. I know we don't want to talk about that yet. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing it right here. Folks, there's always something positive that's in it happening. The question is, while we highlight the problems, ask ourselves, how can we be part of the solution? Until then, Dexter, as always, brother, peace and love. Lyndon, keep the flag flying high as we get out of here on a Thursday night. We'll be back with you next week. God bless.
Rock the box, we say, yeah. TBN, we say, arts and culture living, yeah. Rock the box, we say. I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box, we say. I'm telling you, rock the